Hollywood. It's Radio Raheem here with Andre Ward. And Andre, it will be in September, which is only a few days from now. An entire year since you stepped in the ring. I was there the last time you stepped in the ring. The fanfare was phenomenal. Everybody was behind you. It seemed to be that moment when you would be crossing over into household name status, when your star was really starting to shine. Talk to me about the moment that you realized it was going to be a delayed reality based on the injury.
Oh man, that moment was it was devastating. I mean, this last the first 5 or 6 months, it's just surreal, man. When I got the news that I had to have surgery, on my shoulder, I mean, it's just surreal, And this last 10, 11 months or whatever it's been, I done shed some tears, man, as I'm fighting to come back. And people don't realize the courage it takes to come back from a major injury. They think it's just a bad thing, like, oh, it's a setback. Yes, it's a setback, but as a professional athlete, and in my case, being in boxing 20 years, and I'm a max effort type of guy, I give it everything I have when I train and when I prepare. So I gotta have that same intensity to come back, and I gotta stay strong in my faith, because this moment's, man, where it's tough. But I've crossed that bridge, and I've turned the corner. So now I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to go, and I'm just looking for a date and getting everything together.
Now, throughout sports, it's somewhat of an epidemic. Guys using things to regenerate, to bring themselves back faster, for there being such a financial incentive for you and the popularity at its zenith at the moment. Was there ever a time when you had to struggle with, should I take something? Is there something I could do to make this process faster and get back in the ring and keep that star shining before, time diminishes it?
I don't know what you mean by take something, but...
Well, I mean, flatly, substances, not necessarily even illegal substances, but some guys are looking for a way to recover faster, and that's where they get in trouble, and some guys do it on purpose. But was there any seeking out of something that could bring you back faster?
Oh man, not at all. It's hard work, man. When I tore my ACL playing basketball, I mean, I don't know of any miracle drug that can bring you back faster. But as far as me seeking something out, no, that's never something that crossed my mind. I just had to put my nose to the grindstone and work. Respect the holding period in the brace where you can't do anything. Let the rotator get to where it needs to be, and then just work your tail off. And that's what I did, and that's what I've been about my whole career. Me personally, I'm not the type of guy that can cheat and live in my own skin and feel comfortable about it. So that's that. If that's what you were alluding to, that's never nothing that crossed my mind. I knew it was a process. I knew it was going to take time, but when you do it right, and you cross the bridge you're supposed to cross, you turn the corner, and you get to the point where I am now, you feel good about yourself.
And let me be clear, I asked that question not to suggest that I had any information contrary to what you just said, but because you seem to be one who is adamant about taking that straight path all the way down the line. And because of that, you may be suffering financially, you may be suffering promotion-wise, because you're not bolsterous, you don't, use the foul language, you don't put on some type of act that brings in the black hat element. So when it comes to how you promote yourself, how do you think you can overcome the idea that HBO and Showtime and these fighters seem to be most self-promoting in that way? You're doing the antithesis of that.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's anything I have to overcome. I think if you look at, example like today, you got people driving 2-3 hours, standing outside 2-3 hours for in-store signing that we just put up like a week ago. I've sold 10,000 tickets. It's not something that all my team has to do, promoter, manager, and primarily the promoter. They have to put the muscle behind me, the resources behind me to promote me, and people are going to come. I don't have to, and I think I've proven that up until this point. I think it's, when I first turned pro, I had an amateur style. They said I couldn't take a punch. They said I couldn't punch. I'll never be a champion. And they got to cling, the critics got to cling on to something. And right now, I can't sell tickets. But all you guys got to do is go back and do your research. If you look at just me and Chad Dawson's weigh-in alone, I think you were there. Mm-hmm. It's electric. So I think if you really kind of get past some of the stuff that certain guys write or say, and you look, I have a fan base. I'm not in Northern California. I'm not in Oakland right now. I'm in LA, and I have fans all over the world from the UK back to the West Coast. So I just need my team to do their job, promote me like they're supposed to promote me at this stage in my career, like the number 2 fighter in the world, and it's my job to prepare and go win. And as long as they do their job, I think we're going to get to where we need to go.
And you've mentioned promotion several times just in that answer, and you had some issues with your current promoter. Many people would agree that a lot of fighters are built on promotion more so even than record or action or results. You have the action, you've got the record, you've got the results. Where's the promoter falling short?
Well, I'm not here to put nobody on blast or nothing like that, but since the arbitration with Dan, we sat, and I mean we as a team, my manager Dan, my co-promoter Antonio Leonard, myself, and we hashed it out for about 3 hours in a conference room at a hotel in Oakland, and I was perfectly clear about what I was expecting. I'm not a beginner. I'm not a prospect. I'm number 2 in the world, and I should be promoted as such. Managers, promoters, they're going to continue to do that long after my career is over. I have one career, and I have one window. And, a perfect example is, there's no way that I should fight in my hometown and then a week later somebody tell me, man, I didn't even know you were fighting. If that's, if I knew I would have bought a ticket, that's unacceptable at this stage in my career. And I think they understand that.
That being the case, and you also commentating, I can talk to you like this because I know you understand the business and the sport. Showtime and HBO are at odds. Golden Boy and Top Rank are at odds. They've split the sport into quarters. Where does Dan Goossen fit into that, those fourths, to where he can carve out a place for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think as long as Dan can follow through with, the conversation we had. I think Dan is qualified to do the job. I think he's qualified, but he, like you say, it's a lot of competition out there. So he, just like for me as a fighter, I can't get comfortable, I can't get lazy, and neither can the promoter. The promoter has to put his best foot forward, fight in and fight out. And I'm not just talking, internet interviews and stuff. I'm talking about, real promotion. And I have a job that I have to do, and early in my career, my team told me to put them in a position of power, and of course we still have a lot to prove and a lot to do, but I think they are in a strong position right now, and as long as they understand that, clearly understand it, I don't see us having any problems moving forward.
And it has to be said that even those internet writers and broadcasters that may sometimes, criticize you, they're also the ones that have you at number 2 in the world, and your fans are ardent and adamant about the fact that they support you and they put you in that position. So that part is undeniable. If we turn to what's happening in the ring, it stands to reason that history would show you need rivals to really shine in a sport that's one-on-one. And to your own undoing, you've cleared out your division. Would you consider moving weight classes to find competition, really, so that you could shine against the best out there, even if it's not at your weight?
Well, I think the same criticism not criticism, but the same standard that people are putting on me should be put on every fighter in the sport. Not everybody in the sport of boxing has these rivals in every weight class. They're finding opponents for these other guys, and they're getting paid top dollar for it. And so it's not like the 80s and the 90s, you know what I'm saying, where you have the Leonards and the Haglers. Roy never had that. Floyd has it, fortunately, in his weight class, but not every fighter's doing that. So I'm not going to be penalized for winning the Super 6. I've said that from day one. You don't have anybody to fight. There's people to fight. My team's job is to go find them and then fight for me in the negotiations like I'm the number 2 fighter in the world. So that's just something that people say, and it kind of catches. He has nobody to fight. There's plenty of guys to fight. There's a built-in pay-per-view with Chavez Jr. There's, if Froch wants to step up, the bad blood between me and him is real. That's a pay-per-view fight in Las Vegas because of our history. You got Evan Rodriguez that says he wants to fight, and then when I'm ready to move up to 75, you got a whole 7. So it's people to fight. You got the Russian, the number 1 contender for the WBA. He's a solid opponent. Like, it's people to fight. There's not nobody to fight. But I just think people say things, and they, instead of doing your research and saying, hold on, there is somebody for this kid to fight, people just kind of catch on to it, and it just builds steam.
Yeah, there's two examples out there of ways that you could go if you sat down in the 168 division and do your career there, campaign there. There's a Bernard Hopkins type of example where he's done phenomenal things, he's broken many records, but he never got to that Floyd Mayweather status with popularity and money, and then you have a Floyd Mayweather. So when you chart your course, when you look down the line of history, how does the Andre Ward story play out?
I don't know. I think my course is going to be what it's supposed to be. Floyd has set the bar extremely high, and I don't know if anybody's going to get to where he's been for a long time. And that's just being real. He set the bar real high in a lot of areas. But whatever my career is going to be, it's going to be. Like, I feel like I'm building a Hall of Fame career right now. My job is to make the revenue I'm supposed to make, continue to be a blessing, man, and reach out and touch people along the way and max out and do what I'm supposed to do. And at the end of the day, as long as I can look back and say, man, I gave it everything I had, I got a Hall of Fame career, I made my money, I'm gone. I'm not competing with Floyd. I'm not competing with Bernard. I'm competing with myself. I'm trying to make sure I max out. So when I hang them up, I can say, man, I gave it everything I had. Unfortunately, in boxing right now, with the inception of these websites, not all websites, there's some great websites out there. Not all writers. There's some great, fair writers out there. But some guys who normally wouldn't have a voice, they got a voice now because they got a domain name and they started a website and they're giving their opinions. And sometimes for casual fans or fans that are coming from MMA, they get diluted with that stuff and they don't really know. But the real fans, they know, hold on, man, this guy's biased or this guy's always talking negative about certain guys or certain styles of fighters. And that kind of stuff, not just for me, but it's negative. It's bad for the sport. You look at Floyd Mayweather, number one, this guy is a living legend in our sport, and he don't get the respect he deserves. You got Floyd at number one and me at number two, and we get hit with some of the same criticism. That's not a reflection on the fighters. That's a reflection on the sport. That shows you the state of where our sport is right now. That if you don't come out lumped up, if you don't come out with a bloody nose and a busted lip and slurring in your post-fight interview, it wasn't a good fight, the fans got duped. That ain't right.
Well, let me give you an opportunity, lastly, before you get out of here, to not go through my filter, not to go through my filter or anyone else's. I'm going to give you the mic. Just talk directly to the fans who have been missing you for 12 months and what they can expect, and what's been going on in that time.
Man, I just want to tell my fans that, it's been a lot of talk out there, some good talk, a lot of it negative, a lot of opinions being thrown out there. And to a degree, you guys got to understand in boxing, that's good because those people, whether they like me or not, they're buying a ticket, whether they're writing, they're keeping my name out there. Some of the people that are saying that they're going to buy a ticket or they're going to tune in, and it's just part of the game. But just know that I'm working. Just because you don't always hear from me, I'm working, I'm grinding, and I'm coming back with a vengeance. And, I think this week we'll be able to have some news for the fans. November 16th is my date. And as long as negotiations go smooth, they're going to send me back in the ring. And I just feel like I'm hungry as ever.
Andre,